Another Saturday morning where I find myself up much earlier than I would like to be, although this time I was filling up a much smaller water bottle than usual. I was not going to a bike race. I was going to a trail run. That's right, running. Don't hit me. Through this last year, I was bitten by the running bug. More specifically, trail running, although road running is kind of necessary because it's a lot more convenient. I read a book called Born to Run, and it just kind of inspired me to run. I'm not a good runner. I'm a cyclist that pretends to run. What's fun about the trail running portion of it is I've actually roped my dad into doing it with me here and there. This morning, we had signed up for a 10K trail race that was being hosted by a guy that hosts a lot of the local mountain bike races. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of the race, of course, I had to pack my stuff up, and I will say that packing for a running race is a lot less hectic and a lot less stressful than packing for a bike race. So, we got shirts to run in, short sleeve and long sleeve. It's a little chilly, depends on how I feel at the start. Running shorts, deodorant for after, my water bottle, headphones, although I don't think I'm gonna use those, and then my running shoes. That's it. So I do have a bit of a confession. I have done trail races before. Two, in fact. I did a 10K and an 8-mile trail run. You know, I've done this before, and I kind of roped my dad into the whole trail running thing because it's a great substitute for cycling through the winter, especially if you're like me and you get off work and you have 10 minutes of daylight and it's either bust out a 30, 45 minute run or ride the trainer. And sometimes running is just more fun. And so I roped him into it, and he's done a couple trail runs, and I'm excited to see how he does today. To be honest, he's a better runner than me. So I wholeheartedly expect to lose to Dad. But we'll see how it goes. Arriving to the race, you can see it's a lot like your usual bike race. You've got registration, t-shirts, people standing around and warming up, you know, the whole 9 yards.
Copperhead.
He said copperhead. I said he'd get bit.
Hello. What
Are you ready, George?
Here with the man of the hour. So I mentioned earlier, this is his first trail race. We did a few trail runs this winter and had a great time. And he loved it. And the first thing he said was, I want to do a race as soon as possible. So what's your game plan? Tell everybody your game plan here.
Hang around to about the 4-mile mark, and I'm going around everybody.
So it's a 10K.
Yeah, I never done a 10K race.
But I don't know if it's an actual 10K or not.
It might be more like 12K with Keith.
Yeah, it might be 8 miles, or I don't know. Who knows what we're going to end up with. So pacing is going to be weird. Dad has beat me at a 5K. The turkey trot beat me significantly, I think, by like a minute. So we'll see who comes out on top today. Probably you, but
I don't know.
I guess we'll see.
I just want to survive.
Yeah, we need to get our shoes on and laced up, and then I think we're gonna go warm up, and then I guess start the race.
Yep.
So we'll see how it goes.
We got here a little late.
I'm excited for Dad to give it a try. I think give it the Roger Sands thumbs up. It's fun. You'll enjoy it, probably, or you'll hate it.
Or I'll hate it.
After warming up a bit, we headed to the group meeting to listen to the pre-race message while Dad fiddled with his Garmin watch and his headphones to try and get his music working. Fret not, we did get it working. Once the pre-race details wrapped up, we had to walk to the start, which is a lot different than riding to the start. It's a lot slower. But naturally, we lined up and we started the race. I think Keith's used to bikes. He took off a lot. Got any words of wisdom? There was a bit of a road climb that led into the first bit of single track, and Dad and I actually hit the woods 3rd and 4th overall. Admittedly, we took off a little bit too hard, but that's kind of just what I do at races, so it's not like that big of a surprise to me. A little over a mile in.
Yeah, I know. Oh, you're talking to the camera.
Got any words of encouragement? Nope. I try to show my watch at this point, and it's kind of hard to see, but we were just over 1 mile and sitting at 8-minute miles. By this point, 1st and 2nd were in the distance, and Dad and I were holding on to 3rd and 4th. It's a very steep incline. We planned on hitting the climbs a little bit harder, kind of do the same thing when we're racing bikes or riding bikes, and it just made sense to try and make up some time by going uphill as quickly as we. And I actually thought this is where I would gap Dad, but that did not work out. He stayed right on my heels the whole time. We didn't die on the steep climb. He's still back there. Beautiful day though. I wish I wasn't so miserable right now. We're sitting on 8:20 pace. Over halfway now. So pretty good pace. Got anything to say?
I'm dying.
You're dying? Well, let's not do that. A little over halfway, we came up on a water station. Dad and I both were carrying water with us, which, by the way, sucks. I hated it. We had one of those we each had one of those hand bottles that goes around your hand and carries water, and it sloshes around, and it makes your arms feel uneven the whole time you're riding. If I hadn't spent money on the thing itself, and Dad said the same thing, I would have probably just thrown it in the lake that we were next to. I hated it that much. Yeah. Dad was still hot on my heels with no signs of fading. Unfortunately, he would run into one of the only mechanicals you can have while running. Tragedy has struck. Equivalent to getting a flat tire. Dad's shoe came untied. He's close behind. Faster to change than a tire. But he's gonna have to burn a match, catch back up. So I might be able to squeak him out. I won't lie though, I'm feeling like crap. Now Dad is incredible at pacing. He knows his pace very well, and he's not going to overexert himself to make up gaps that are completely unnecessary. He knows where to hold his pace, and because of that, I did open up a small gap. The most unfortunate thing with his shoe coming untied is it actually allowed 5th and 6th place to catch up to him and essentially be step for step for him as we popped out on the longest climb of the day, this long gravel climb. I looked behind me and I could see that they had grouped up with Dad. I had about 10 seconds, maybe 15 seconds on them, and I knew that I had to put in a big dig on this climb, otherwise they were gonna catch me and beat me. We popped out on a gravel climb. This is gonna hurt. We did a bike race here last weekend. It's a big climb, so not looking forward to this. Untied shoe misfortune really bit him in the butt, which is incredibly unfortunate. But for the father-son duo, I gotta hang on to where I'm at. Believe this is the home stretch. Fortunately, my effort had paid off as the group behind me could not close that distance, and to my honest surprise, I crossed the line 3rd overall and 1st in my age group.
3rd place, Jordan Sands.
I think Dad's right behind me.
Yeah, Tyler's right on him too. Yes.
What I was not aware of when I crossed the line was the absolute smackdown that was going on behind me. That gravel climb was long enough and windy enough that after a little bit, I couldn't see anybody behind me. So I had no idea if that group was still together, if they had passed my dad, if he had passed them, whatever. Unbeknownst to me, they were actually just going up the climb step for step, side by side. Now, if that had been me, I probably would have been dejected. I probably would have crumbled under the pressure and then came in 6th place or 7th place or whatever. Admittedly, my mental game is not the toughest. And so if I'm toe to toe with somebody and we're coming up on the line, 9 times out of 10, I don't have the mental fortitude to like push myself to do that. And that's just the kind of person that I am. My dad, however, is a completely different animal. So when it comes down to the wire, the Roger Sands method of racing is do or die. There's not much in between. He will put everything that he has into that last final stretch, and he will either beat that person or completely and totally wreck himself. After I crossed the line, the race director mentioned that they were right with each other as they entered into the single track. Upon learning that they were still together when they hit the single track, I had no doubt that Dad was going to come out on top. It's very much a situation of if you give him an inch, he's going to take a mile.
You better run, Roger. You're going to be put in the deep freeze. You all right? Good job, Tyler.
Oh my goodness. Tyler was pushing me. Yeah, all right.
After putting in a big dig, Dad successfully crossed the line at 4th place overall and 2nd place in his age group. Now, fortunately for me, I had opened up enough of a gap that he never saw me. If he saw me, he probably would have tracked me down like a hunter tracking down a wounded deer through the woods. That's not just hyperbole either. When you looked at Strava, his final mile time was 45 seconds faster than my final mile time. So I was fortunate. Luckily, he never saw me because otherwise he would have killed me.
Some guy on the way home from work.
Dad and I both were pretty shocked at how we did, outperforming our own expectations.
Oh, he's running.
This was also just a great experience to do with your dad. You know, I'm very fortunate that we can do these things together, and I try not to take that for granted. But also the race in general and trail racing in general is very fun. I mean, it's something completely different from biking. It's still in that similar vein of endurance racing, but the mentality, the preparation, the pacing, and everything is just totally different. And it's nice to kind of change things up every now and then. Next time, though, I'm checking his damn shoelaces. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Probably.
How'd it go?
It went good. Got 4th.
4th overall, 2nd
In my age, in the 50
50 to
plus.
59, yeah, or something like that.
It was hard but fun.
Yep.
I had to dig to get 4th,
Yeah. So,
but I did it.
He survived. So I got lucky. His shoe came untied, and he wasn't with me. But I got 1st in my age group and 3rd overall. So he was right behind me still. So successful day though. Didn't fall.
No falls.
Did not fall. So
No falls. I didn't even get my shoes muddy.
Oh,
I
yeah.
jumped all the mud.
yeah.